Happy morning, everybody. We're always changing. So we're never the same. We're changing in our body, we're changing in our mind all the time. So there is no point holding on to something or somebody because they're never the same. 25 million cells are getting produced every second. So many are also dying. That's a lot. According to Deepak Chopra, an MD, and then there's a model that medical doctor MD lives in Western California. So the body cells are regenerating, and so the body organs naturally are regenerating themselves regularly. The cells are regenerating, the organs also naturally are regenerating. Ageless Body, Timeless Mind is a beautiful book. Ageless Body, Timeless Mind. 45 days is all it takes to generate a new liver. Old cells go away, new cells come in. There is a schedule for different organs. 45 days for a new liver, some 50 days for a new bladder. Here are the skin cells, 30 days. So that means what? It is getting replaced. The whole organ itself is getting replaced in that time, in that short little time. So if the body cells, all organs are getting replaced in a short time. According to this study, in less than 7 years, we don't have all the body cells have been regenerated completely. So we are not at all the same person that we were before. We're not at all the same person that we were before. As per this, where everything is getting regenerated regularly, everything is getting regenerated. And since if we understand the cells have memory, in a conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind, then anyway cells have memory. So unconscious mind is our I-ness that is so deeply in there in the cell memory, and they're going away, and the new one is coming regularly. So there is a change in ourselves. And when we are meditating, since we are constantly expanding our conscious, so we are imprinting a new belief system into the cell memory. So we are changing quite rapidly. When the new cells come, they're not taking on the old memories anymore because the environment for them is no longer the old memory, it is a new memory. The new information that is being given through our thought and feeling, now we are totally a different personality, that I don't have to dominate somebody, that I need to allow somebody to live their life, no interference, that no lamenting. So when this new information is going in, so there is new memory. But nevertheless, the cells are constantly changing. So when somebody was yelling at Gautama Buddha, and then Gautama Buddha's co-travelers or disciples were there, were getting boiled, but Buddha is quiet. So the person yelled, and the next day the person comes back because Buddha didn't say anything. And then before he's coming back, I mean, the story goes that he came a second day, he's tried to yell again, Buddha kept quiet. He didn't do anything. So then third day he comes again, he was so angry. Before his coming, as you've seen, the disciple asked Buddha, so why are you keeping quiet? He's just yelling at you. Just come back here, do something. Buddha says, who do you want me to yell at? The person who was here yesterday was not anymore same. So how can I yell at this person? He is not the same person. No man can ever step in the same river twice. Hercaratis. Even the river, wherever you're stepping in, it's not the same river, right? It is just that area of molecules, protons, everything is moved away from there. If it has consciousness, the river is constantly changing. So, dear friends, we holding on to any past grudges or memories, our own conclusions about somebody or our own judgments about somebody will only limit us. We certainly need to think about them and then suddenly need to drop one by one. Because in meditation practice, having these judgments, holding on to some limiting truths will limit us from going forward because that's where we filter. So that forgiveness, the gratitude that we're doing every day is a great way to drop any judgment that we may have on somebody else. because there everybody is changing. Everybody is changing. But what we attract is based on purely our own thought and feeling. 99% of the time, whom we attract into our life is based on how our thoughts and feelings are. If we think that the coming person is going to be nice, then you will attract a nice situations where the people are also nice. Everything is an experience that we're attracting. So the people are also nice, will attract them. If you're only worried about yesterday's what happened, and then you think that okay, now my manager is coming, he's going to say something more. Even after meditation, you're a changed personality. But then if this inner dialogue is there, which is because even after meditation, meditations are not no meditators are not suddenly overnight anybody a god. We, of course, we hear this. Hey, you are meditating. What have you done? You also lose temper. Of course, we're going to lose temper. Of course, we're going to express emotion. It is never a goal to not express emotion. It's a goal to express emotion, but regain from it. Become very resilient. So regain from it in the next moment. Just like a young child, they fight, but the next moment they are like so close friends. So we gain, as meditators, we gain the resilience that we recover from anything pretty quickly and then carry on to the next moment. But then if you have this inner dialogue about whatever has happened yesterday and then you think about it, then you attract a similar situation. Could be from the same person or could be some other person now. 99.99% it's about our thoughts that are attracting situations and hence the people inside the situations or events. So difference. But the people by themselves, everybody is changing. The whole consciousness is changing constantly. So what's the point in holding on to a memory which is from the past? Because the very person or a thing might have changed completely. If with every breath, if I take 10 to the power of 23 atoms, with every breath I take 10 to the power of 23 atoms, and then that many are going out with just one breath. And then we perhaps are taking 15 to 18 breaths a minute. So near 1,000 breaths an hour, and then it goes on. So many breaths are being taken in a day, and then 10 to the power of 23 is like a big number. 1 trillion is 10 to the power of 12. 1 trillion. That itself is 1 lakh crores. After that, you got to put another 12 zeros. I don't know what's that number is. We can't even say what the number is. That many atoms are being taken in every breath, and then that many going out. So just with that alone, that a person, because as they're taking in of somebody around. In 3 weeks, they're taking in the cells and atoms from everybody in the world in 3 weeks, as per the model. So if we have got so many, I mean, we're already influenced by so many people's thought and feeling. So how can we be the same few days ago versus now? Judgments, there is no place for judgments. Our job responsibility, where we have to take data, analyze, conclude at that moment, we conclude, and then we move on. Again, we have data, analyze, conclude, we move on. But you don't carry the conclusion from point A to point B. This is where we need to go because everything can change. That's the idea, right? Everything can change. And when we do that, then we have a beautiful interaction with when our mindfulness comes fully in because then you're no longer filtering, right? You're no longer suspecting when somebody comes in. This suspicion is a disease. We continuously suspect because something somewhere might have happened, and then we extrapolate, generalize it, and then carry on the suspicion. When we suspect, then many people check out. The moment you ask something, hey, where do you work? One simple question you ask, oh, where do I work? Is why is he asking? Why is she asking? They need some job. They need some help based on what I'm doing. They need something. I think I just better stay quiet. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Gone. So, dear friends, meditation is helping us understand this easily. Meditation is also helping us absolutely to slow down that volume of such thought. And so we can become more zero inside. There are four barriers to the spiritual progress. One of the barrier is to carry on this judgments, prejudice, half knowledge from situations and generalize it and carry it. which is a dangerous state. We'll understand these barriers as we go on to the next week. But the simple breath mindfulness meditation is always helping us become empty and as a result, avoid these unnecessary generalization traps, avoid these unnecessary projections of this form of generalization that we've been into. Shall we go into our meditation once again? For those of you who are new, we are doing Anapanasati meditation, our breath mindfulness meditation. We want to empty our mind. Mind is full of thoughts. When we empty our mind, naturally, most of the negative, which are 80% plus are negative thoughts, anxious thoughts, worrisome thoughts, go away. We are totally emptiness inside, outside, according to quantum physics, which is full of energy. So when we empty our mind of all thoughts, then we start experiencing energy. So the way to empty the mind, dear friends, is to observe the breath anywhere in the nose. Take preferably here in the middle of the eyebrows. With your eyes closed, remove the specs. Fingers into fingers. Rest your hands comfortably in your lap. So we still the body by crossing feet at ankle. Fingers into fingers. Resting hands comfortably in your lap. Eyes closed with specs removed. We still the body. And then we observe the breath by taking a point and then observe breath is going in, coming out, going in, coming out. And as you observe the breath, slowly mind becomes empty. That's an equation. You can go back and look at our initial day one, day two videos for understanding this. But when you observe the breath, mind becomes empty. So our goal is to anytime always be observing the breath. And then in case you get distracted into thought, which happens very commonly, come back and bring your attention back to the breath. Observe the breath again. And as you observe the breath, breath becomes lighter, shorter, and then you slowly find yourself not even observing, or you forget completely that there is something called breath exists, but then either way you are not thinking, you are in this, you start experiencing energy, you are in a trance state, you don't know where you are, but you may be in any state. All of that you be a witness and then simply observe whether the body sensation, mind sensation, visions, colors, body movements, anything may happen because when we are experiencing energy, that energy is in infinite form, so any kinds of experience we may experience. So what we want to do is to be just a witness, do not interpret them, and just be a witness to all of that experience. The idea is to be in that emptiness for as long as you can without being in the body. So when you observe, when you empty the mind, we're not in the body anymore. We're not in the environment anymore. We're not in our past anymore, the memories. So we're not aware of this physical reality anymore. When we observe the breath and empty the mind, and thoughts are gone, that means we're not aware of the physical reality. So then we naturally start becoming aware of that thing which is that emptiness reality, which is called the quantum energy field. It's also called the quantum consciousness, which is that consciousness, that intelligence, which is all energy, all pervading everything out there. So we experience that. And then so I'm going to be guiding and saying, go into, become aware of this no body, no thing, no place, no time. Because it's a place where there is no time or space that we transcend when it's emptying our thought and mind. To empty that, all we have to do is observe the breath and hold on to the breath. Hold on to the breath, and slowly mind is becoming empty. So I'll be guiding that way, dear friends. And anytime you feel you're in a thought, breath is your savior. So come back to observing the breath. Anytime you are in a thought, I'm guiding something where you feel like you are just feeling your body quite beautifully, or you're feeling your office, you're feeling your people at home, then go back to observing the breath again because you want to stay away from your body, environment, life, your past, and any of those, which are nothing but thoughts. So, dear friends, so we are doing this called breath mindfulness meditation or anapanasati meditation. So I will say, let's go into breath mindfulness meditation. Let's go into that time. But prior to that, before starting, we're doing something called heart elevation, where your hand comes here, eyes are still closed, legs are crossed, and we're going to recollect a memory from your past where you felt lots of love or gratitude, compassion, any of the emotion that makes you one with a person or a place or a thing around you. Anything that makes you one with the people. That is an emotion called heightened emotion. So we want to relive an event from your life where you felt such higher emotion. The idea is that when you feel that long enough in your heart, then the brain is slowing down. Meditation slows down the brain, and then we're going to utilize this Heightened emotion is a great tool to slow down the brain and then go into breath mindfulness meditation. So relax yourself, sit comfortably. We heal ourselves deeply. We aim to become a better version of ourselves every day with our meditation, and then we are of great help to everybody. Three things that sum up our practice, dear friends. Ultimately, there are three things that we are aiming to have. It's great to keep that as an intent every day. We heal ourselves deeply. We become the better version of ourselves every day. And we are of great help to everybody. So, as we are understanding purpose, giving a meaning, have living a meaningful life, a purposeful life, so that when you look back at any given time, when we look back any given time, we do not feel like I should have been done that. There will not be a should have been in the dictionary as we become more and more spiritual scientists. I should have done that. You should have done that will not exist because we always are mindfully present in doing the right thing. We are fulfilling our dharma in the most best possible way by ourselves. I'm sure Karthikeyanji will never look back and say, why did I not do it that time? Because life is full. So purpose of life can also be understood if we ask ourselves this question: if tomorrow is my last day, what should I be doing? A lot of that alignment comes when we contemplate on things. If tomorrow is the last day in my life, then what will I do? Naturally sets us into thinking to reprioritize, so that you do not feel that, hey, I didn't bother to spend that time with my grandchild. I don't even know that my children have already gone out of college before I realized. Why did I not latch on to this opportunity that Pyramid Valley called me so many times? Our subconscious is already working, always working. Before we sleep, if we set something into motion by dreaming or visualizing, we heard that from Shreyans Dagaji, that the whole night it is helping us because we are in that thought. Dear friends, when we are passing, not only sleep, there is a permanent sleep. When we are passing, it exactly the same thing. Whatever is the feeling that we go with is what we carry. It is working for us deeply as that for our subconscious. Until the time we come back again, we carry. So it's a great thing to be fulfilled when we are exiting permanently. Great thing to be fulfilled before itself. So how do you ensure it? You stay contented at every moment. So we ask ourselves, what should I be doing if it is my last, tomorrow is my last day? This is what Patriji told me 2005 or 6, some of that one of those days when I was working with him. Great advantage of working, being in the company of masters all the time, committing to service and being there, is that you get to spend some time closely. He said, I keep my calendar full. I'm always reprioritizing. I'm always going after things. And then I want to ensure that any time when I look back, I don't feel that I didn't do something. And we all know that when we graduate from the college, when we came into the job, more so in the modern youth, current youth, first thing they look at and say, because there is a serious mismatch of what the job is wanting versus what we learned, or never what we never learned. That is the time the realization comes that I should have learned more. But we catch up. It is not like unhopeful. There is a lot of hope. So we, of course, it's a struggle, but we catch up. In the first 6 months of job, we catch up, tune ourselves, we come up to speed, we learn everything required, but we're going to put in that hard work, dear friends. It is like that even now. It is okay if we are late or we didn't do it, but we can catch up. We can do that intense practice and understand ourselves more meditation, more reading, and then automatically we start aligning what is it that's really, really important for me. Do I still have to chase these multiple property EMIs and multiple insurances? Where is this insurance concept is coming from? Why am I so worried about this thing? We ask these deeper questions so we align. We do more meditations, we listen into our heart, we keep moving away from many desires slowly into your needs. It's a process going to happen, but it's very important that we fulfill The desires we transcended. How do you do? Those who are not learning, those not meditating, the only thing we have is that if you want to just put the desires into that machine one after the other, we got to just experience it. But those who meditate, who are also expanding your consciousness, start recognizing the impermanence of things, and slowly you will transcend some of them right in your meditation experiences. So you don't have to physically spend a ton of energy. You recognize it. Yes, this is. I understand it. You enjoy it. You even, and those who cannot transcend in the knowledge, but will then definitely transcend as they are visualizing and dreaming. Dreaming fulfills many desires before even physically manifest. They're done, and there will be some left where you feel like I have to physically experience it, because physical reality comes much later when you're spending a lot of energy to transfer energy into matter. But nevertheless, we are going to align into things that we love to do. Like all the Buddha Seva members are wanting to, they've aligned to their purpose. They find that so much happiness. That Naga Pradeep tells me, then he just gets kicked. He gets excited. Veena tells me she's so excited that she's doing this work. She's talking to people. She's sharing. Whatever that may be, dear friends. You're so excited to be playing for that basketball team in your community. So be it. Perfect. Another thing we do when we are not very clear about purpose, we go into the flow. We align. We want to identify, even at the slightest, we may be doubtful about, is this what I want to do? Some people are not satisfied with the job, right? There is so much of opportunity. If not satisfied, then change it. Change it. But why hold on to it? Because the survival fear is there. Survival thinking is that I'm close to my office. I mean, it's very close to my home. It saves me 20 minutes. They're pretty things. Time gets created automatically. I mean, this whole COVID proved that you can work from anywhere. So why care? It's close to my home. I'm very comfortable. It's a survival thinking, being in the comfort zone. That's another barrier to spiritual progress. We'll learn these barriers next week. Being in the comfort zone and then always wanting to operate in that model is not the mark of a meditator. Meditator is always trying to do something new, break the habit, break the stuff, because it gets boring. We're not here for survival. Survival is taken care automatically. We know it. I mean, all we require is one roti kapda makan, just a little bit of bread. You can stay anywhere. When the law of infinity is there, so we want to be creating infinity in a way that we deeply fulfilled. So we align. We keep breaking the routine. So what do we do when we're not clear, but still take up something? Whatever that you somewhere feel but not clear, take it up. And then take a small goal. Going into the flow, the Japanese concept, ikigai, right? You go into the flow. How do you go into the flow? You do two, three things for it. Let's say you want to learn music. So take up something tangible, concrete, small goal. You want to something, make it conquerable. Don't try to say on day one that in next few weeks and next few months, I'm going to be singing next to Pandit, not Ravi Shankar, somebody who is there. I'll be singing next to them. You take such a tall goal, then you'll not be there. In order to go into the flow to understand if you really love it, if that is what you want to do, that's what you are going to have an experience of a lot of enjoyment and contentment. So take a small goal. So you want to learn singing. You say, I'm going to learn this raga in the next 15 days or 30 days. That's all. One simple, take a small goal, go into the detail, go into the enough detail about it, learn from everything that you can get hold of, repeat, practice, but you got to go into enough detail. You can't say, I'll just listen to how my teacher is singing, I'm going to just sing. That's a shortcut. Understand the science behind it, understand the notes, understand this and that. You got to build the foundation and then get to the raga of listening to how your teacher is singing. We take a lot of shortcuts. Shortcuts are not going to lead us to know whether we're going to be liking or not. So you got to take a small goal and then you got to go into the detail. And third thing we got to do is to break ourselves, push ourselves out of the comfort zone. When you are able to go out of the comfort zone and then do something, and if you meet these three, take a small goal, go into the detail, go out of the comfort zone. What is comfort zone? For example, you're already working 10 hours a day. If you're really passionate about it, you're going to take 2 more hours. Cut down your sleep, cut down your movie, cut down that morning walk if required, because if morning walk you're doing mechanically, anyway, if you're doing meditation, meditation is healing all bodies. I'm saying temporarily. If you feel there's no time, cut down the sleep, cut it down. So that's called beyond the comfort zone. So we set up the whole environment, but then we just go out of it. Comfort zone, we can just go out, go to that. If you want to do a service activity with something, go to that place. Today again I have something. Of course, every day our calendar is full because work expands to fill time, dear friends, always. If we didn't have a goal, then work is just expanding to fill up the whole time. We all know it. That's why we bat so much in the last minute at deadline and exams and everything. In every preparation, everything comes together at the last minute because this work expands to fill time. We got to have a goal. Otherwise, what we can do in 3 months, we're also doing in 3 days. So when we have that thing, when you're going into the flow, so when you do this, that you go out of the comfort zone, meaning you stretch yourself a bit, 10% extra, 15% extra, and pay attention to the detail of that small goal you've taken so that you don't get lost. If you take a too large a goal, try to do the detail, you get really, really lost, right? Small, and then see what happens. Going into the flow is that those who forget the time and space environment, they forget the time and space. It's exactly the same thing that you do in meditation happens for those who are sometimes you remember. I mean, if you have sat down for learning music, next thing you realize is okay, 3 hours passed. That means you are really enjoying it so well. You went out for gardening, and then until people called you and said, "Hey, 3 o'clock, what are you doing there? Come and join for lunch." You've forgotten time, you've forgotten space. You're not bothered about the environment, people, there's no distractions for you, neither do you have distractions from what time it is. So that is called going into the flow. When we forget time and space, when we forget our environment, ourselves, and then we are in it, that's going into the flow. So, friends, if you are in it, then 100% that is the thing that you want to do. Take it as your build upon that to be your next few things that you want to do, something that you're really going to enjoy deeply. Then you do that for a few months to years, and then you yourself will know. That's like anything, slowly over a period. As the learning there is over, as that experience is a law of diminishing returns that we experience, and then we experience and experience, slowly it reduces. Meditator is readily identifying understanding is going from one high to high. They're not waiting for the low to come to go to high. They're going from high to high. You're not pushed to change, pushed for change. Instead, you're constantly seeking a change. I experienced rasgulla today. Tomorrow, I'm going to experience a nice Bombay halwa tomorrow. You know it. You're going to make the decision to do it the next one. You're not going back and, oh, this is so good, so let me go back and then have the same thing. Let me go back and have the same thing. That's called, we are fearful of losing that experience we get attached to. I know, like every time I say, yes, yes, let's go back to the Chinese restaurant. Every time we go to the same Chinese restaurant because we just enjoy that food so much in that particular dish. We have to try new, dear friends. So, purpose can be understood when we are not clear, when we're not able to get enough strong and push from inside. Then take a smaller task out of whatever that you think maybe is what will take you really be happy. If you want to go into a different area of field within your subject, try it out little. Take a freelance assignment while you're working for your company to test waters if you want to do some sales job. Take up a promotion role in a non-profit because promotion is promotion. Your skill of ability to influence others is same whether you're working in a company or working for something else, right? Take up a promotion role to create more awareness about it and then see how successful you are and then whether you're enjoying that because in that process you're actually talking to people, you're potentially traveling to areas unlike your current job where you're only sitting behind a computer all the time, and then see if it's going to help, right? And if you feel like that's like giving you so much happiness, that's called stretching because your job is there but you got to stretch yourself to take up this thing, and then in a few days you'll be so happy, then you gain the courage, right? Then you're more clear, basically you get more clear, and then so you can take the transitioning of going into a sales job in another company. Dear friends, the last thing is in purpose of life. We all have, I mean, as part of this assignment, we all have our abilities and talents. I'm not going to spend too much time. This is easy to understand, but I would still want to show this slide. It's a good idea to recognize that this exists, right? This aligning to our abilities and doing that's what I was just talked about in terms of going into the flow where you take up something which you feel is important to you, right? Which is basically comes by looking at. So there are three things here in this diagram. We have a role to play, what we are expected to do today, But however, all of us have this blue diag is a circle. We have capabilities. I guess I'm not sure how the font became so small. We have capabilities, which is our talent. Every one of us have a unique talent. The talent may be that you fundamentally have an interest to create things. For example, A.R. Rahman creates things, right? There are people who want to create. There are people who want to just help others to use. They find happiness in making sure that people are able to use things. To tell them this is, and there are those talking and promoting. This is called promoting. That means you're able to share. You want to share. Hey, there is something, you know what? This some cool thing has come. You want to do that. There is a sharing, right? So it's called sales marketing. I mean, they're basically brought to three roles. Products are created, they're sold, and then they're used. So you need people to support all three areas. Everything in life is like that. Everything, even your home also is like that. There's somebody at home is interested in creating, changing things. Somebody is only worried about is it clean or not, always want to make sure the right way. And somebody is when someone comes home, they say, hey, come, I'll show you my home. And then you want to show every little thing that you feel good about so that they also can acquire it. Right? Our nature is we love to share what are good. What we experience happiness, we want to share with others. That's the nature of the soul. So you recognize what is your core area of interest, right? Now create, promote, operate. And then we also initially maybe followers. Over a period of time, every meditator becomes a leader. But there is a nature. There is a nature to ourselves. Identified. You may be a born leader. You have the inherent leadership quality, but you are absolutely square pegged. You got these tight boundaries drawn, and you cannot allow it in your current job roles. You got to think about this and say, if this is what I want, fundamentally, you want to take proactive interest in bringing things up, in helping others, in communicating actively. These are all the leadership qualities that you may have, but the current role does not support it. Then you want to look at it and say you want to realign. But the point is, you have abilities, and then you also have desires. There's a third circle, green circle. What you think will give you enjoyment. So when our abilities are matched with our desires, of course, it gives us joy, and then we are doing it, so we're happy. But that may not be what our role is. So you have a singing ability, you want to sing, you want to go and then participate in the local club, become part of it. So you start having happiness in your life. However, we still are going and then doing my, that boring programming role, sitting in the computer for 24 by 7. For some, I loved it, by the way. For some, it could be boring. That role can be different. And so we slowly gather support and then align our role to what we do. The best thing is that all these things come together, right? All these three things come together. You have a certain skill, and then you have a certain role which allows you to fulfill, exhibit that skill, and then because of that, you're so happy, right? It's obviously. So this is where we want to go to your friends. We ought to constantly look at what are your core skills. What are the core gifts we call? Not skill, gifts are called. If you have a desire to actually do carpentry, chances are that you perhaps have that skill. So go back and explore to see whether you have it. Oftentimes we have these hidden talents, we don't express it. Instead, we've been forced to, or we've been told to, or we've been envisioned, conditioned to take up something else because that's what it will fetch us a lot of money, a lot of recognition. So it's important. And then meditators are definitely realigning themselves to their inner gifts, the talents that are given. Because when we express our talents, there's a good reason why I chose the talent and came. And so naturally we're going to be very happy. Right. So dear friends, I'm going to leave this and then we'll post this chart so that you have it is self-readable. But the point is that when we identify our gifts and then apply them and then take a task and then go into the flow, if you're going into the flow, then that is it. You are square on it. You're not sure. You got five things. You like gardening, you like cooking, you like this, you like programming, you also want to travel and then be in a sales role. So you're not sure what it is because so many are there, right? Take one because you feel everything is a talent for you, obviously, because there's a lot of mind activities playing. So take one, take a small task, see if you're going into the flow where you forget time and space. So that is perhaps is your talent. So you go further into it, identify an appropriate role for it, identify an appropriate project for it, and then you start aligning to your purpose. Because then you're expressing your talents to the best possible way, dear friends. So these are many ways that we understand a purpose of life. Nothing better than meditation, expanding your consciousness and listening to your heart, where you feel that as a message, like when that download happened to me over a period of 2 to 3 weeks, that I should not be leaving IBM. Instead, I should be hanging in there, stay there, and then take up meditation to the leadership. If that's what my goal was, this was my intermediate step, where the ready acts of leadership was there because you're inside the company. So I needed to utilize what I knew about. My interest was about to go and then teach it. I needed to go beyond my time because my full time job is there to integrate the company. So I couldn't be using meditation, and more so when mindfulness was not hardly present in IBM that time. Me trying to take up my regular time for it is not going to be allowed. So I need to stretch myself, but create time. Some of this 6 week course actually got born in that 3 years, 16, 17, 18. So stretch myself and then do that work. It was beautiful. So we get download of messages when we are meditating regularly. Our heart is telling us more and more clearly, this is what you want to do, right? We take brave decisions and we align ourselves. Second, if we didn't ask these tougher questions, what if I not there tomorrow? So what should I be doing? It's going to give us some deeper things to ponder and then try to come back. Identify your talents and try going to the flow by taking one at a time. But we always want to do something. Don't wait for the purpose to be revealed. There's no such thing. Always want to do something so that slowly it is. When you're not clear, you're sitting in meditation not clear, so we got to do something, right? We can't sit idle and say, let it be very clear to me. Do something, do what you're doing, continue to do, continue to meditate, but you're not happy, you're not able to understand still. That's when I'm saying jump in and then take with a new task, create that extra, go out of the comfort zone, take that new thing, try going into the flow and see what happens. Another thing you can also take help is your parents' purpose, dear friends. Your parents' purpose, often, what did your mother stand for? What did your father stand for? Their lifetime. And you're also doing something on top of them. You're building upon them. For most cases, you're building upon what they've done. My dad always wanted to help by default. It was his nature. Always want to help. Always took extra time to be helping in many ways, in getting a school for the village, getting a road for the village, or being the mediator to resolve a lot of issues. So that service was there for him, but the circumstances did not allow him to do full time service or whatever. But of course, he went into service at the age of 50 or 52. He resigned his job, but he did that. So it becomes natural for me when I look back into my things. It sort of helps me to realize that yes, this is an area that I'm going to do. There are some broader qualities that they have, then we build upon them. My mom was about doing things no matter whether somebody comes around or not. She had these 7 children, and she would just work, whether there's help or no help, but she will just do the stuff at home. We came from an agriculture family, so she also did that when I was young, but subsequently she didn't have to do. But no matter help is there or not, but she would just quietly go and then no complaining, cribbing, and just quietly go and do it because she believed in that power. So she just did it quietly. All that thing that she had to do. These days managing one child is tough. So you're talking of 7 children with limited resources. So recognizing that there is no complaining nature, so you naturally take it. So if you are fearful that I need to have a lot of cooperation in whatever project I'm going to take up, then think about it. Your parents, what did they stand for? So that thing came to me that it helps me to take up things because I fundamentally can feel that if my mom can be able to do it, basically inspiration, right? So then I allow myself and say, I'm also into anything that I take up where it doesn't start with a team, instead start with me. Individual as me, when I say we ourselves can initiate. But somehow that support is there, some do not be. Depends on what your mother and father stood for, is what will also help in whatever you're taking up to look at and say, okay, how much of that I can build on top. That's all I'm saying. They all help. They all help. So, dear friends, it's great to talk about and try to align ourselves to the purpose. I request Karthikeyan sir to provide his closing comments as somebody I always look up to for his very highly regarded purposeful life. So, dear friends, thank you all for joining for this wonderful session. I love this topic. And in the end, meditation is the way to align to the purpose. Everything can be there. Meditation is the way. I'm sure we all are aligned to ourselves. It's so beautiful to see Narendra ji doing so much service as a way to find his inner happiness as I see it. So thank you all. We'll exchange views shortly after the break. We have past time. So thank you. And then tomorrow is our long meditation day. So we were going to spend time. Tomorrow is long meditation. No, I'm sorry. Tomorrow is our business leader. Yes, sir. Karthikeyan sir. Tomorrow is a business leader.
Good morning. Thank you. Beautiful.
Yes, I wanted your closing comments on purpose of life. Where you
Purpose of life. You are living that. You are living that every day. Purpose of life, again, I only repeat the same thing. Be healthy, be happy, and spread happiness to as many others as possible. Chandra, that's what you are doing. You are living the purpose. You are an example, ideal example. Thank you very much. People are happy. Probably meditation. Let them carry it for some more time.
thank you, sir. Thank you all. So talk to you in 2 minutes. Thank you, and have a great day.